Hello. We are making a video. The baby dog is sunbathing. And I love being in the garden. Absolutely love being in the garden. It feels so incredibly good. With the wind chiming through the branches and the ivy. It's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yes, there is a nice American Staffordshire. Yes, there is a nice dog. Is that? Yes, there is a nice dog. Is that? There is a good dog. Is that? Very nice dog. So yes, very sexy. So he is my sun lover dog. I have to be careful sometimes. I have to put clay. He already has some clay on there where there's just pink skin in the groin area. There's no hair at all, and I have to protect that with zinc oxide cream, with clay, and with baby powder. So it's good to put that stuff on to protect that very pink skin. He already has some acne or something there that I'm always worried about. So yeah, he had papilloma virus before that caused a real bad inward growth, and it's horrible, awful terrible. Had to be removed, and I was real worried about this because I didn't know what it was. So yeah, it's difficult. Existence is very difficult. There are difficult situations, and life is full of uncertainty and dangerous stuff. Okay, so anyway, I want to tell you something incredible. There's so much going through my mind. I mean, so incredibly much. But before I get started with what I want to say, before I get started with the positive stuff, I just want to talk for a moment about the voyeuristic stalkers, or stalker. I don't know how many there are, but obviously we're not helping them if we hate them, but we're not helping them if we throw our tax money at them and let them free. So that's not going to work either. Paul thinks they're in prison and they're operating from prison. So they do all kinds of stuff all the time. If I called it mischief, it would be an understatement. Okay, it's malignant behavior, toxic malignant behavior, psychological attack bombs and all of that. I met these people, I guess, in a chat room. I don't know where I met them. They claim that I've met them even before that somewhere. I guess somewhere on YouTube, in some kind of conversation or whatever. And then they started to stalk me, and then I accused them of that, and the guy says I don't stalk whales. So, okay. Well, I blocked him, but that didn't get rid of him, of course, So he comes back in frog cartoons and in all kinds of walks of life you can possibly imagine, and as women pretending to be my best buddy girls. And I don't know about Sandy, but I have the feeling that the entire Sandy accounts are created by Philip Jones. Zane, Danny, whatever their names are. So, and they also, because I'm not like, I don't investigate people, they wanted to make sure that I know that they have stolen my, back then when I was still on Facebook, stolen my Facebook identity and created clone accounts with which they were getting money from men. And they normally wouldn't admit that, but they had to tell me in order to make me feel depressed, and in order to have this, like, like a triumph. That's what it all is about. It's all about triumphing over like, to be the winner of toxic behavior, and to be doing something bad to someone, and this entire identity is built on that. And it's extremely annoying, and it has made me so mad in the past, where I just screamed into my computer because they spy on me day and night. So there are spyware programs now in people's computers, and the computers have been also deliberately set up to harbor that kind of software. Okay. So anyone can buy these. My computer is so slow again, but it doesn't matter how many times I put it back to factory setting. It doesn't take 20 minutes for all of these spyware programs to be put back in and slow it way down again. And there's no law enforcement against it. It's just a wild west of spyware programs, and whoever makes these spyware programs is making tons of money. They only care about the money. And so these stalkers, they will, and there's no chance that me as an activist, animal rights activist, I could ever in the world make it to some kind of publicity exposure or something, where my voice actually counts or something. I'm kept at rock bottom of Cinderella in the ashes. Okay, that's where I am kept. And now that these raptors have found me, 20 years ago on the internet. So ever since, they have been trying to make me suicidal. They have been trying to make me feel like I'm just trailer trash. And in many different ways they do it, in very sneaky ways. They create video clips of where they tell the computer to mimic my videos, but don't make them identical, so that I can't say, oh, here, that's what they did. Okay, I can't put my finger on it, but just enough imitation of my looks and my personality, so that I will get spooked out, or that I will feel harassed again, and that I will feel put down, and so it's an insult towards me, you know. So, and they always use, of course, when someone insults someone, they always use means of exaggeration. Otherwise, the point wouldn't come across, right? So they want to insult me with a real fat woman's account, a woman that's 500 pounds. So then that's their exaggeration, my 500-pound life and all of that. But then they copy the way I talk and all of this stuff. It's just been endlessly non-stop going on for 20 years, or I don't know how long, 15 years, 18 years, I can't remember now. So something like, time goes by real fast. So I wonder if they're the haters of Eric Jacobs. So it's a possibility. Eric Jacobs is a Scandinavian, Italian, American young man who loves cats, real innocent person, and he was traveling with his motorhome and with his cat Jax. So, and I found him through Paul, because Paul always looks up motorhome stuff and traveling and like nomadic lifestyle. And Nomadic Fanatic is this YouTube channel, and we were both really enchanted with Eric Jacobs. And then Eric Jacobs, he was studying at the university where the entire university ganged up against him because of he has white supremacist tattoos. Like, it's like really nobody's business what kind of tattoos he has. I'm against tattoos. I'm particularly against white supremacist tattoos, but that's his business, okay? I didn't watch his videos because of the tattoos. So, and all the other people watch his videos also because he's a nice person. He loves cats. He's very an animal lover and nature lover and totally innocent person. But there was a group of people that started to gang up against him, and then anyone who was friends with Eric, we weren't friends with Eric, but I commented and I said nice things under his videos, and these haters would come and tell me that he has white supremacist tattoos and that he did something that didn't make any sense, the accusations. And I said that's not why I watch his videos. I watch his videos because his videos are very good. He was a film technical film producer student, and he's extremely good at creating very good videos. And in nature, and his personality is very sweet. Okay? So, and that made the haters so mad that I stood up for Eric. And then they started to latch onto me, and I told Eric about that also, and he said, "Oh no, now they are coming after you. I'm sorry about that. It's not his fault." Okay, so. And so then, ever since then, I believe that is who they are. That's the haters, that's the stalkers, and then they became voyeuristic stalkers. And they never left me alone, and so I went through all kinds of stages with these people. I went through incredible hatred. The first I didn't know who they were. After the Papa dog died in 2019, just before the pandemic outbreak, in December 2019, Papa Dog died. It was horrific. I was suicidal. It was absolutely horrific. And then January, February, and then the pandemic outbreak and uncertainty and fear and grief and all of this stuff going through my head. And so because I was in such a rock bottom mental state, also becoming schizophrenic and all of that, that's when these Eric Jacobs haters, I believe that's them, that's when they took advantage, they beat you when you're down. That's their personality. So then they started to lure me in with different accounts, of course, always fake accounts. They never show their real, actual face. So they were getting really good at it. I don't know if they had help from psychologists or something, or from the underworld string holders. I felt like, and then they said stuff like, they're spending enormous amounts of money on you, but I think that was mocking me because of my schizophrenia and paranoia. It wouldn't make any sense, because there's no way I can ever be some kind of challenge for the underworld. I mean, here's the thing with the underworld people. I don't know what they are, reptile mixes or whatever, but Zionists or whatever, I'm gonna get some shit for saying that, but who are the Zionists actually? So those are the ones that are working for, I guess, for the Sumerian Israeli agenda. And I believe that it's not just Israeli. It's the underworld of the Middle East, the entire Middle East. There are people living in the underworld. Literally, they're living in underworld cave systems. And I know a lot of people think this is not totally schizophrenic, batshit crazy and all of that, but there's evidence coming out now, scientific evidence for that coming out now, like more and more and more scientific evidence for this coming out. So this agenda, this underworld agenda, has been there for a very long time. People are not aware of that. And I'm speculating, I'm hypothesizing that they have existed before humans evolved. So when the human lineage was still at the stage of a tree climbing rat. Okay, so when these reptiles, I don't know where their original seat is of evolution, but I guess somewhere in the Middle Eastern realm, right? And they're descendants of dinosaurs, and they went underground to protect themselves from the overland calamities. That's how they survived. And they're very fearful. They're very paranoid. I think they're probably also very afraid. They probably have this thing called agoraphobia. I'm guessing now, because that's built in, like genetically even, this agoraphobia. They're afraid of being up on the surface and on a very wide area, wide and vast area where they can be seen from afar. So they like to hide. This is built into them, and I'm not blaming them. This is how they evolved. So I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand the voyeuristic stalkers. I'm trying to understand the Zionists, the reptiles and all of that. I'm really trying to understand. So before someone gives me any shit, we are all mixed, all of us, okay, to various degrees. We're all mixed with this or that, even Reptile, because they've done gene splicing experiments. Mixed with Reptile, we're mixed with Yahweh, okay, who was an ET astronaut. It's so obvious. It's totally obvious. If someone had said that to me 20 years ago, I would have shrugged that off and said that's paranoid. That's some kind of Christian conspiracy. But the stuff's coming to the surface now. Okay, so that doesn't validate the Christian religion at all. Quite the opposite. The more comes to the surface, the more all religions are being scrutinized. Okay, so Buddhism is still the best one, but they are doing bad stuff with that too. So, and I'm not saying that everything is wrong in the Bible, but there's a lot wrong in the Bible. A lot. It's like a whole freaking lot. And a whole lot of contradictions also. When you see contradictions, you know you're dealing with a sociopathic entity. Okay, so I don't know about Yahweh, the original astronaut, and his team. But of course they did Adam and Eve, Garden Eden gene splicing experiment. And I'm like completely diving into that rabbit hole now because evidence is coming up to the surface, okay? And I love my haircut and I will never change this haircut because it's a statement. It's a statement against gullibility. This is the anti-gullibility haircut, so whether you like it or not, accept it, okay? But anyway, so because I know that people, when they don't have an argument, they will come after my haircut or whatever, after my wrinkles and my age, and that's what the voyeuristic stalkers are also always doing, you know. They never have an argument, like never. Never, like really never, okay? But, so, because of my haircut, everything I say is completely, it's invalidated, okay? So, or whatever, because I like this or that guy now, or I accidentally talked to an Aryan Nation guy. I didn't even know that guy was Aryan Nation. And then they come after me with pitchforks. You talked to an Aryan Nation guy. There was another guy, like Eric Jacobs. And I talk to everyone who's nice, okay? So, trust me, I have other ethnicities in me, so, and they probably have too, and a lot of people have. So we are just a completely mixed bag, like a mixed marshmallow, couch potato, right? But people always like, and it's the underworld that stirs this up, that stirs up this division. So they're doing it. But I don't want to demonize them. I mean, no matter how demonic they are. I still don't. Demonizing someone is not what I believe in. Okay? I believe in healing. I believe in giving people the chance to heal. Not Big Brother give the criminal another chance and another chance and another chance. So that's totally idiotic. Okay, there shouldn't be another chance when someone rapes a child. Absolutely not. Okay, if someone tortures any living being, any animal, woman, child, okay, if someone tortures a living being, and rape is part of that, rape is torture, then that person needs to be euthanized. Okay? It's all there is to it. And the underworld, they have worked on masses globally. In Germany, it's real bad, the brainwashing with that. I'm from Germany, so I know. I mean, we have been so indoctrinated about it, where it's not just that you're afraid to use this or that word. It's so ingrained in us that we don't even touch these subjects with a long pole. I mean, we don't even go there at all. We're like completely avoiding certain subjects because we have been told, and also subliminally told, and it has been pushed into our psychology to the point where we're just terrified of ever saying something like this, what I'm saying now. That we're terrified, so terrified, particularly when we're young, and I used to be young, and we were so afraid that, I mean, there's no way we can ever touch a subject like this, or say something like, let the skinheads have their meetings too. You know, I said it once as a joke, and gosh, they looked at me like I'm and I said, well, it's just a joke, man, but why not give everyone their place where they can meet and talk, sit on a park bench and talk, right? They have the right to do that, just like everyone else has the right to do that. So I guess I have edged on, but I was also really afraid. I was afraid that, I mean, it's just such a lopsided way of education that we have received. And then I went to a real extreme liberal school. And every teacher there was extremely left-wing. And you're not allowed to say anything that could in any way go against that stream of brainwash. So we were just so afraid, you know, when you're young, you're really afraid of being shunned by society, of being casted out. And the sonnet type of people, like David Wilcock and many others, Justin Bieber and many other people, those are the famous, you know, everyone loves them, of course, you know. But I can see they're afraid, those people. They're very afraid. They're afraid to say the wrong word, to offend someone. And I find that unfortunate. That's not the way we should live our lives. And unknowingly, without their consent, they actually cater into the brainwashing. They're making it much worse. They're exacerbating this kind of development. But they don't mean to. They don't think about it. You know, it's just they're so spooked out by offending someone. They wanna, and also their nature is to just bring everyone into the discussion, and which is good. I want to do that too, but not indiscriminately, where you give a violent criminal the right to vote. That not okay. I'm sorry. That goes too far. Because guess what happens? They will vote for someone like Gavin Newsom, another criminal. Okay? And that's not democracy. That's not. I talked to my dad about this a long time ago, because he could see that we were being already worked on and all of that in this direction. And so once in a while he would give us, and my dad was on it, but he was afraid, that it can move in the wrong direction, all of this, because he's been through World War II. He's seen all of this happen. He's seen the subversive brainwashing happening and all of that. So it's absolutely terrible, So my dad would once in a while say something wise, and I really appreciated that. So, and he would say something wise that would go against this stream of brainwashing. And that was very, very helpful also for me, and to know I have to be more discerning with things. I can't just say, I'm a punk, I used to be punk. I'm just I'm this total chaotic punk, and we are always standing up against against anyone who is establishment, and we are for anarchy. We have no idea what anarchy entails. So we have no idea because we have not been through World War II. So we're like spoiled brats. And then we have the nerve to say yes to anarchy and have it all pasted on our jackets and all of that. We go with Henry Rollins and dead Kennedys. And it's like ranting and raving against the establishment. Actually, the Kennedys were and are amazing people. I find out about that later on when I hear the whole picture of it, more and more of the whole picture. And Robert Kennedy told the whole story about what happened to his dad. And it was exactly the same situation as what happened to his uncle. Exactly the same situation. Same thing what happened to Charlie Kirk. Okay, this is a pattern. This is happening. Okay, so if they can't beat you into complete depression and suicide, then they'll come after you with a sniper. That's how they function. Okay, I'm paying attention now to these things. I see all of these puzzle pieces now, and I am laying them together into a larger picture. Trust me, I am. Because it's my duty to do that. And even if no one watches my videos, I still have to do it. I feel a responsibility to do that. And it also bothers me so much to see this brainwashing and to see people like Gavin Newsom. I'm not calling him governor anymore. See people like Gavin Newsom getting into power. That's such a stark injustice. It's unbelievable. I should be governor of California. I should be, okay? I really, boy, would I change everything. Oh my gosh. I would turn entire California upside down and inside out. I'm in California right now. We have two places, one in Oregon, one on the California side. And we're on the California side right now. And that's also where I'm registered. But, yeah, there's no way that the underworld would let someone like me win. No way. There's no chance. I'm in the ashes with my broom, like Cinderella. So I'm absolutely at clown rock bottom. It doesn't get any more clown rock bottom than that. That's the ultimate. Okay. But if you are a sonnet, like Theo Von is, then, and I love this man, he's amazing, then you are going to win people over. Okay, I don't win people over. I'm not a sonnet. I'm a Medusa. Okay, I'm a monster. People don't like that. They're terrified of people like that. I'm an INFJ. So I'm a battle axe. I'm total battle axe. But I'm also a fierce mother dog mother. Okay, so bear mother. And so a bear mother, a real true bear mother, is a battle axe. Don't mess with bear mothers ever. Okay, so I will never take any crap from anyone. So if I see crap and if I see beagles being abused in laboratories, I'll do everything I can. I will sign every single petition and do everything I can from my humble leverage abode. Okay, so I will comment, I will do fact checking with people. I will tell people the way it is and what they did to these animals and who the real heroes are. The real heroes are people like Wayne Hizong. I cannot pronounce Asian names very good, but that's as best as I can do. The animal rights lawyer Wayne Hizong, he was at the forefront, also together with Wayne Pacelle, the two Waynes. They're amazing. Those are the real heroes. And they went there with a team of amazing angels, and they went into that Ridgeland Farms biomedical research facility, and they rescued, I think they rescued by now every single dog, every single beagle dog they rescued. I hope every single one. And if there are any left, then they will find them too and bring them out as well. Because this biomedical research facility has actually broken the law. We don't have very good animal rights laws at all. And if they break the law, even though we don't even have these animal rights laws, then they really did horrible things. Okay? If they even break this measly law for protection. So then, okay, that's why these people went in there, because they can't live with themselves knowing that this is going on out there in Wisconsin. Okay? So they rescued, I think, 2,000 or 2,500 beagle dogs. And I've seen the video clips on X, and I am always sharing that, and I am absolutely amazed and infinitely grateful to those people. So, but I want to come back to my subject, the sonnets. Okay, so some sonnets might be also animal rights activists, of course. You know, I'm not saying that this can't happen, but the sonnet in general is someone who holds the other cheek. Okay, like Jesus. I don't even know if Jesus said that, because I think Jesus was actually Medusa, but I think this hold the other cheek, I think this psychological operation by the underworld. So not even by Yahweh the astronaut. So Yahweh the astronaut, I'm guessing no, but I think Yahweh the astronaut was a pretty superior person, like a superhuman, you know, very caring also. I'm just guessing, I don't know. So, but then later on, the underworld, they jumped in, the reptiles jumped into the equation, and they started to use this worshipping of ape humans, they were worshipping Yahweh and the astronaut team, because they were so much superior in so many ways, right? So then they always start worshipping them, and then they want to look like them, and then they even volunteer with the gene splicing experiment. They want their children to look like them, to be made in their image in the Garden Eden, which is that was a biomedical research facility. And then the underworld reptiles, they jump in because they want to basically hijack this worshipping, and bring it to them and divert the attention to them. So I don't know who these people all are, elite and Jehovah, and I don't know. I think Jehovah was an astronaut also, one of the astronauts. Yahweh was another one. And then I don't know who elite is, maybe an astronaut or a reptile. So I need to study this more in depth and see what they come up with, the findings in Turkey and Iran. So I don't know if it's in Iran, but they would probably not even let people do any excavations there. And even in Turkey, they're very, very restrictive in the way they deal with these scientists, paleontologists that are coming there for their excavation vacation to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Okay, so there are some amazing places where stuff is now coming to the surface. The sun is now encroaching here, and I get sunburned, and I don't want to get sunburned. So, but anyway, I need to blab about all of this. It's very important for me to do. And I love the way Theo Von looks. Theo Von looks 100% like the dream man that I have drawn on paper with a ball pen. Sometimes I draw with ball pens, or I draw with markers sometimes too. But when I want to go more into the details and fine details, I draw with a ball pen. And you can't use an eraser for that. You have to draw well. And then it has some crooked spaces, but it gives me the opportunity to really dive into the drawing and the details of it. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but I love doing it. And then I draw in a more realistic way. I like to draw faces. I've drawn E.T. faces, and then later on I saw an E.T. in the blanket that showed itself to me, in the blanket formation. I see patterns in different so-called random pattern formations. I see suddenly faces appear. And I've always been like this my whole life. And so one time we were here, and there was this baby blanket, and all of a sudden I see this E.T. I see his profile, and I recognize this as being an E.T. And I was also talking about E.T.s. That was while I was making a video in that moment. And then I talked about this, how I suddenly see this E.T. face, and it's trying to communicate something to me, and it felt summoned, kind of, because of the subject that I was talking about. And that makes me think that what I was talking about was spot on, because that's why the E.T. was coming in, and there was a very serious expression, and the ET felt seen and understood in every way. And then later on, I drew one painting I drew with a green ball pen, a light green ball pen. I drew this particular ET at the other house, and I framed it. It's in the glass cabinet now. And this ET is much more exaggerated, of course, than the face of Theo, but I believe that he has DNA from that bloodline. That's what I believe. And they came down in Asia. I talked about this before in my videos. These ETs that had extremely slanted eyes, like so slanted, the eyes were almost vertical. And they looked amazing, like really beautiful, 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 gorgeous faces. Large mouths and beautiful, wider nose, beautiful nose that is very well proportioned, not like mine that is Pinocchio. So, and was very straight spaghetti hair and huge brain, okay? And they looked amazing, and they did gene splicing too, and they mixed their DNA in with that population that was there, and the population that was there was coming from they call it the Asian Neanderthal. And I think the Asian Neanderthal is older than the European Neanderthal. So I believe the European Neanderthal is already the result of gene splicing with the Nordics. So, but I'm not sure. I'm just speculating on all of this, on all of that, right? I don't have proof or evidence for this. But I think it's extremely fun to speculate on all of that. I love to go there in my head all the time. And I think that there was a group of astronauts from a distant planet, and they looked just like that ET that showed itself to me, and I drew him, and then from this they did Garden Eden projects. They took the Asian Neanderthal, which was not Oriental yet at that time. You can see that in the Ainu population in northern Japan. There is a pocket of descendants from the Asian Neanderthal that has protected itself and separated itself, insulated itself away from the influx of hybrids that were Orientals. So when you see the Ainu population in Japan, you can clearly see they do not have Oriental eyes, okay? And they were afraid of these hybrids, and because they were so afraid of these hybrids, they moved further and further away from them as the hybrids moved on too. People always move on and migrate and encroach. They encroached so far that they ended up in the northern tip of Japan. That is like a semi-island and a very long island, and they encroached them into this northern tip, and they did not interbreed with the Oriental looking people. So they kept this original, and that shows us how approximately the people looked like, but they have also evolved since then, of course. So they're not identical again anymore, but it gives us a specific idea, a glimpse into how the original Asian population looked like before the spaceship landed. The spaceship was the very slanted-eyed ETs, and then the slanted-eyed ETs, they did gene splicing, then they created hybrids that were able to procreate with each other, and also maybe also with the ET women. And because they know when they land somewhere that their time is counted, obviously. So, and it is built into every existence, every single existence, no matter how far they come from. Every biological existence has this built-in need to proliferate itself. And it goes into planning and cognitive thinking, all of that, just way even beyond the sexual impulses. So it goes so far that they, if a colony lands somewhere, let's say in Wuhan, China, I'm just getting on it, right? So that may be the original seed of those. And they land there with their spaceship, and they know that their time is counted. How many people are there? Maybe, guessing, 100 people with these extremely slanted eyes. And they know that even if they live a couple of thousand years, their time is still counted. Because no one can live absolutely indefinitely. I don't think so. So, and even if you could, at some point something would happen, and I don't know, illness or whatever. And they would at some point taper out and become extinct. So to prevent that from happening, they needed workers. So these two very strong motives led them to, and led all of these exotic beings to do these Garden Eden projects with gene splicing, where they created a zygote that has both ET and original ape-human DNA in it. And then from that, they made them more into their own image, but they didn't want to make them identical, because if they made them completely identical, then they would be afraid that they could take over their governing positions, and they wanted to stay in the governing position, of course. So that's always what they're calculating, out of just not out of malice, but out of practicability more. Okay, they could be kind-hearted, but they wanted to stay in power. They're not holding the other cheek, right? So they're thinking in practical terms. They're thinking in proliferation terms. They're thinking in keeping the governance going from there, as they're very convinced that they know it, they know best. Okay, so they don't trust the other ones too. If there are hybrids and they have the same brain power, then what if they derail and do something bad with society? And that has happened as well, of course. These things have happened, like with Atlantis, for example. So where a hybrid population derailed. Look at the human population today. Okay, so with all of these mixed pieces of DNA in there, and a regular scientist, a woke scientist, will never accept this kind of information. And so, but to me, it seems so obvious that this is what's happening. That the human species, with this fear of social rejection, which was, I think, very deliberately built into them by the underworld, probably. So, but it also evolved naturally as well. But I don't know to what degree it would evolve naturally as well. The fear of rejection in the past meant death. Like, rejection by the tribe meant most likely to die somewhere, not be able to get their share of the food or get hypothermic, be left out there alone somewhere in a cave. So that's a strong fear. So people have this incredibly intense fear of social rejection. And this intense fear of social rejection leads them to do unimaginably horrific things. You see it right now. You see how people have been trained to be woke, and they don't question it. They just accept it, hook, line, and sinker, because that is what their peer group is saying and thinking. And if they go against their peer group, they would cast it out of Hollywood or whatever it is, you know. So people like Billie Eilish, they are just it. I also see myself in her, of course, in the past. You know, I'm not condemning her or anything. You know, I understand her. I understand that she is afraid, you know, and it's even unconscious, all of this. So I don't want to condemn anyone. Okay? So not even the criminals. I don't even want to condemn them from the sky perspective, because they evolved like this. It's really tragic, all of this. But I will not hold the other cheek to someone who is doing injustice. Okay? That could be out of ignorance or out of malice. Either way, it has a bad result. Okay, so I will not hold the other cheek. I will speak out. I will put the record straight. I will fact check wherever I can, and that is my duty to do. Okay. So, but regarding Theo Von, I think he is half Asian or quarter Asian. So it would be interesting to find out. So, because for a while I was thinking, this man is not purely Euro descent, so obviously not, partly, but he is something else in him. So and then I was thinking, what is it? Pacific Islander? Does he have black in him? It's a possibility. But then, you know, I keep studying this face. Then I realized, no, he is part Asian. Okay, he's part Asian and part Euro descent. Okay, so like, for example, Teal Swan is a quarter Asian. Robert Edward Grant said he is a third Asian. How did they do that? All of these people look incredible and absolutely stunning. Photo model, picture, book, incredible. So, but then there was an Asian in Santa Barbara who did not like himself, and he blamed it on his Asian mother. He thought he was looking bad, and I feel so, Elliot Rodger, I feel so sorry for that guy. My gosh, he was suffering so bad, but it wasn't his Asian DNA that made him not liked by women. What made him not liked by women was he had hatred towards women. That's why he wasn't liked. But he blames it on his appearance. That's what a lot of psychopaths do. Okay, say they always blame it on their appearance, and they don't look at their own behavior. They don't look how they come across with other people. So the sonnet is like the opposite of a psychopath. The sonnet is someone like Justin Bieber, David Wilcock, and Theo Von, who is extremely agreeable and extremely likable and lovable and lovely and And with a type A personality, people pleasing, which can become problematic, of course. I have people pleasing in me as well. So, but it encounters a tipping point. So, I have my tipping point. Okay, so but I'm paying attention now. I'm also really, I've become a hermit because I don't want to be friends with someone who then at some point disappoints me, and then my tipping point happens, and then I go all Medusa on them. So I don't want that to happen. That's really scary. It's also scary for myself. I have nightmares sometimes of me becoming the Medusa or a ghost, and then in my dream I freak other people out, and that is that Medusa energy. I come back and with a revengeful feeling, but I know very well as a peace-loving philosopher that that's not the path to go on. And I wake up screaming from those nightmares when I become a ghost or a Medusa, and these are ongoing dreams, ongoing. For 40 years already I've been dreaming this, so for a very long time. Waking up with these dreams of me becoming a vengeful ghost, and I don't want to do that. I don't like that. But it goes to show that I carry a lot of pain inside of me, and there is still so much that hasn't been worked through, like so much childhood trauma, and this hatred and this rebellion against injustice. The injustice already happened in my parents' home, because my dad is, I don't know if he's still alive. My dad is a Sonnet, and my mother died. I believe my brother murdered her. It's awful. It's absolutely horrific. My mother was the 100% blind follower of my dad. If she was a Christian, she would have been a blind follower of evangelical, whatever, Lutheran. I saw extreme resemblance between these fundamentalists and my mother in the way they talked and the way they act, like really terrified to an extreme, terrified of rejection from anyone and pleasing people, but then being angry about it, that kind of stuff. A Sonnet is pleasing people and not being angry about it. A Sonnet is pleasing until they die. They please people until they collapse. And I see that with Justin Bieber. It's unbelievably sad. Unbelievably, horrifically sad. At least he has this really good woman on his side, the daughter of Baldwin. So this, I forgot the names now, but the Alec Baldwin daughter. So an amazing. That's another Sonnet, and he's very lucky he found another Sonnet and such an advanced angelic being. Okay, so amazing. She's giving him this mental support through this agonizing bombardment from the reptiles of Hollywood. I mean, it's incredible. And they just accept it, They grew up in this realm and they accept it like I accept the ivy or the English laurel, And you have to accept the English laurel because the English laurel is 100,000% good, right? Kind-hearted, even though it has a toxin in it. But the plant isn't going to hit you over the head or something, and neither does the ivy. The ivy is a medicinal plant. Even this one is a medicinal plant in small amounts. But these people, they grow up in Hollywood and they accept everyone there like the plants around them. Like this, it's indisputable. Like these people can never be, they can never be questioned. And what a lot of people do with their parents, they never question them, or the society they grew up in, whether it's evangelical or Hollywood or demonic or this or that or devil worshipping. They don't question it. So they take this as given and concrete, So they think they have to adapt to it. There's no other way around it or something. But they don't. Okay, you don't have to adapt to it. No, you don't. So, but anyway, that Theo Von is an amazing guy. He looks incredible. And he said he doesn't have a wife and he doesn't have children, but he wants that. I can envision him with Billie Eilish. So I like him too, but I'm 61, so he's like half my age. He would never go for someone like me, fat and old like this. But I can envision him with Billie Eilish making incredibly beautiful children. So I can really envision that. Or with the girl Brandy, he likes black girls. So Brandy is a sweet girl. So her brother is most likely not, right? But she's a real sweet girl, and I can envision Brandy and Theo Von having children. Yeah, they would be awesome, beautiful children. So I am just mesmerized. I like Asians, and I think Asians are stunningly beautiful. Asians are out of this world, literally. That's what I believe. And they're outer worldly hybrids, and then if they have a child with, let's say, with a Scandinavian person, those children will come out looking like Theo Von and Teal Swan and Robert Edward Grant. Okay, so, and just absolutely stunning and mesmerizing and superhuman and amazing. And when they have that personality, the sonnet personality, of course they become famous. Or then no reptile can stop them from becoming famous. No one can stop them, because they'll have a following very, very quickly, because they just want to bring everyone onto the stage, and let's all hold hands and everything is good. I'm not making fun of it. I think it's great, really great. I can't do it because I'm a Medusa, so I say the wrong thing and everyone flees. But yeah, it's very tragic, actually. It makes me very alone, very lonely, and very misunderstood also. Very, very misunderstood all the time. I'm a very kind-hearted person. So, but I have my mental illness, and I'm schizophrenic, and it comes and goes. I have OCD, I have avoidance. I'm highly critical, hypercritical of people. So the human species is not a good product, not at all. Okay, and overall, there are people I like. I was friends with a girl from Israel, beautiful girl, very sweet. And in LA, we went to primal therapy together. Racheli was her name. But she wasn't animal rights. She was very into her own pleasure. Just me. Okay, but She was still sweet. She wasn't hurting anyone. She wasn't out there to make someone miserable. Okay, so, but then others are doing it, and those happen. Those come from all walks of life. Those come from all nations. But I think there's a concentration of those in Israel and the Middle East. Okay. So it's a very unpopular thing to say. It's a very infuriating thing to say, but it's still true. And we need to look at truth. We need to allow us to look at statistics instead of shunning statistics, statistical evaluations that have nothing to do, that are totally unbiased. But people will hate it, and they will shun it, and they will throw it away. So that's what they do with statistics, and that's not a good idea. Okay, that can only lead to more suffering and more civil unrest and more anger in certain demographics. If everyone was willing to look at the whole true picture, then people can finally make peace with themselves and with others, and then we can all sit together in a large group therapy session, and everyone can talk without someone else beating someone else over the head, literally. So, yeah, when people finally understand others, there's no need to bring out violence and all of that. There's no need for black women to beat a white woman down, so she has to go to the hospital. There's no need for that anymore. If we have group therapy, we can talk it all out. Then you get to understand that white woman that you're jealous of, right? You feel like she has it all, and you know nothing about that woman. Okay? So it's all happening. It's infinitely tragic, all of that. They throw white people under the train. They rape white girls. The police will shoot the whistleblower. It's all happening. Okay, just get real. Look at reality. So it's what I really love. Theo Vaughn, who looks at reality, but he's afraid. Of course, I can see it. But he still wants to bring everyone into the group discussion. I understand, but some people bring the sniper in, and that was a mistake, right? So I'm just saying, be discerning, and don't be afraid of calling people out for what they are. Okay, don't be afraid, please. It's good to be peaceful at all times, but when you see injustice, talk about it. Talk about it in detail. People need to know. So anyway, peace and love for all living beings.